So, what do we got here? Jeff Berwick. I mentioned this guy numerous times. The dollar vigilante. He was the guy that went with Luke Radowski down to Venezuela before the shit really hit the fan. And it was already bad, and they were showing live footage and shelves empty and things that was starting to lead to where it's at now, which is simply just devastating now. He was that guy. Excuse me. Another billionaire warns of catastrophic depths not seen in 5,000 years and emphasizes gold, precious metals, silver doctors. This is from the Dollar Vigilante. And it says, billionaires are warning CNBC even that a massive crunch is looming. Jeff Berwick. In past issues, we've documented increasingly concerned billionaires warning of dangerous economic times. Many have favored gold as an alternative allocation in a world where $13 trillion worth of debt is negative yielding, interest rates are artificially suppressed, and we're on the brink of major wars. Of course we are, because as Gerald Celente says, when they ran out of stuff and the economy's got to go and they can't hide over it and it's going to go big, they take you to war. The newest addition to this gold-loving billionaires club is none other than hedge fund manager Paul Singer. At CNBC's Delivering Alpha Investors Conference this week, the founder of the $27 billion Elliott Management Fund, the 17th largest hedge fund in the world, mentioned that at current prices, gold is undervalued and underrepresented in many portfolios as the only store of value that has stood the test of time. And what is silver? Silver is the poor man's gold. And they both go up for the same reasons, and they both go down for the same reasons. They go down because of manipulation, and they're held and suppressed down. But once Recession 2.0 kicks off again, I'm here to tell you, this time around, when Recession 2.0, which may turn into Depression, kicks in, because all this papering over, all this massive debt every country on the planet has gotten into over the last 8 years due to the problems of 2008 and 9. Due to those reasons, this huge amount of debt, they can't just paper over it again this time. They've already done that. They can't bring the rates down. They've already done that. So what are they going to do next? We may go negative rates. Some of them are already doing it. And now Janet Yellen, from her meeting the other day, there's a little section in there that no one really talked about, where she floated the idea of an automated, essentially, equation that takes the unemployment rate, takes this rate, takes that rate, and determines what the interest rate will be. And they said, by the way, had this been implemented already, based off of the current conditions they're looking at, we would have negative 9%. And he said, in comparison, these other countries are at negative 0.4. Ours shows negative 9 had it been implemented right now. In case you're wondering, that means your funds in your bank, you're keeping you're a big shot, you got $1 million in the bank. 10%. What's 10% of $1 million? $100,000? Oh my God, that's right. 10%. 10 times 10. 10 times 100,000. $1 million. Do you know anyone that would like to be paying, which it's 9%, not 10, but rounding off for easy math. You know anyone that wants to pay 10% to keep their money in the bank? Absolutely not. And not only that, the Federal Reserve said we're going to look at these three things, one of them being unemployment rate, currently at 5%. So, that's rigged, that's fake, which means the data they're dependent on is rigged and fake. So that means wherever they put that interest rate is rigged and faked, because it's based off of fake data. Kind of like global warming. Man-made global warming data is faked. Singer, along with other numerous hedge fund managers, has been increasingly outspoken in his criticism of the Federal Reserve and other central banks for creating dangers in the market unlike any in what he terms the 5,000-year-ish history of finance. Singer noted that it is a very dangerous time in the global economy and global financial markets. This quote is frighteningly similar to the response given by Donald Trump on Fox Business not long ago when he was asked if he had money in the market. He answered, quote, "I did, but I got out," and then went on to say that he expected very scary scenarios for investors. Singer also stated that he thinks owning medium to long-term first world debt is a really bad idea. First world debt? That's us. That's the United States debt, treasuries, bonds. That's the Western world, our buddies across the pond. He's saying that's a very bad idea? What are you suggesting? Third world debt? Nope. I think he's suggesting none of it. Get some gold and silver. It'd be a really bad idea, and then proceeded to tell listeners to sell their 30-year bonds. Earlier in the conference, prior to Singer, Ray Dalio, who is the manager at the largest hedge fund in the world, Bridgewater Capital, was also vocal about the diminishing returns provided by government debt held by central banks. Quote, "There's only so much you can squeeze out of the debt cycle," he said. He went on to say that central banks are at a point now where their ability to stimulate is limited. Seated next to Dalio was former Treasury Secretary Little Timmy Geithner, who voiced concern about limited tools in the Keynesian arsenal that probably wouldn't be enough to offset the next recession. Geithner obviously believes that a recession is on the way. Dalio and Singer are trying to convey the same message. A massive crunch is looming. We agree with them, although we believe Geithner was sugarcoating what's to come. And he also was quoted, by the way, didn't say it here, he was also quoted, Geithner, of saying that central banks are not out of tools yet. They've got plenty of tools left in their tool bag. Remember that one from Bernanke? We have additional tools in the toolbox we could use. Yeah, and I think Janet Yellen hinted about it. 8% or minus 9%. You pay the bank to keep your money in it. Well, that helps people go out and spend it because they don't want to have to pay. No, actually, it helps me pull it out of the bank and into assets like gold and silver that I store at my house and keep very little in the bank. Because I'd rather pay 10% on a few $1,000 in the bank than 10% on $1 million or more in the bank. Not that I have a freaking $1 million. After all, we are on the precipice of a crash of biblical proportions, according to the former chief economist of the Bank for International Settlements, Mr. William White. We have mentioned his quote numerous times here at the Dollar Vigilante, but feel it's important to reiterate it because of its magnitude. Quote, "The only question is whether we are able to look reality in the eye and face what is coming in an orderly fashion, or whether it will be disorderly. Debt jubilees have been going on for 5,000 years, as far back as the Sumerians." End quote. And aren't we on a Jubilee year? We had the Shemitah special cycle, the 4 blood moons, remember that? Ends in a Shemitah last year, September, goes for a year, ends this year in September. We're in September, end of this month, or is it October 1st, whatever the hell the exact date is. And it's supposed to be a debt jubilee. or jubilee year, not necessarily debt jubilee. And as I said before, it's going to be a jubilee. Not for you. Oh, credit card debt, sorry, you're not included. Student loan debt, you're definitely not included. Not you. Not you, not you, not you. JP Morgan, yes you. Deutsche Bank, derivatives, yes you. Debt jubilee, because it's going to come crumbling down anyways. That's how they're going to get their jubilee. It's going to be destroyed. But everything you owe, you sorry sack, you peasant, you taxpayer, you consumer, you will still owe it. Ain't no debt jubilee for you. As the Fed considers its second rate hike in 10 years, Singer condemned policymakers for acting with amazing arrogance when he and others had warned of a mortgage crisis prior to 2008. What he and those who agreed with his stance don't know, or at least won't state publicly, is that these shoddy central bank policies are detrimental by design. In other words, their sole purpose is to destabilize the world economy. Because if they stabilize the world economy, they can offer a solution to fix it. You may have heard of this term before. New World Order, one world currency, one world financial system. This deliberate market sabotage is necessary for the transference of power from the more developed nations to less developed ones. Ultimately, the idea is to eliminate smaller regional and national central banks. Once things get bad enough, these smaller banks will be blamed for provoking a given crisis. And secondarily, the end goal is to blow up the entire system in order to bring in one world government and central bank. The elites have used the same tactics time and time again throughout history. First they create the problem, then there's a reaction, and then they finally come swooping in to valiantly save the day with what they always wanted from the beginning. It's happened numerous times before, and soon it will happen again. Of course, the globalists have demonstrated that every intervention only makes situations worse. We reported on the blatant thievery going on at Wells Fargo in our last article, and noted how the elites were probably laughing hysterically at what they're able to get away with. They were even able to convince many younger American voters that democratic socialism would be their savior, Bernie Sanders, as seen by the significant youthful support for Bernie Slanders, as he calls them. Debt and currency crises have already started to materialize, as we've seen in the socialist utopia that is Venezuela. If this is any indication of what's to come, the future is looking awfully gloomy. As Singer and others, include Dalio, have mentioned before, the most tried and true measure of wealth and value is gold. And again, its little brother, silver. At Dollar Vigilante, we provide unique Austrian economics-based analysis from the anarcho-capitalist perspective of the state of the world's economy, as well as suggestions on how to protect your assets in these tempestuous and unprecedented times. Jacob Rothschild, a member of the family partly responsible for the creation of all this chaos, even said himself that we are, quote, in uncharted waters, and that it's impossible to predict the unintended consequences of very low interest rates. Well, I think we've already been talking about the consequences of very low interest rates and the consequences of everything that happened before that, which led to those interest rates. Now we just need some of these other bigger countries like America to join the party. And when you start seeing negative interest rates here, it's game over. Can you imagine? Game over. It's already game over. The game's already ended. Now the fallout's happening. Can you imagine the retirees who are struggling, fixed income, no Social Security for you increase this year, sorry, no increase last year, and sorry, no increase the year before. And my magic 8-ball says it looks like this year, next year, ain't going to be good either. By the way, the money you have in your bank, which is direct deposit from Social Security, we're going to now start charging you interest on that. And if the model's correct, it might be up to 9%. That's too much, by the way. They won't start at that level. 0.5%, maybe 1%, you know. So my question is, though, who's getting that money? If you start charging negative interest rates, who ends up getting the actual money? The government? I mean, who? No. The bank. The bank gets the money. The bank always gets the money. Have you not learned? First by bailout, then by bail-in, and now by what's going to be coming, negative interest rates. They have all kinds of tools. Geithner was right. They have all kinds of tools left. The next tool? Bail-ins. Oh, you have over $250,000 FDIC insured in your account? Yeah, I've got $500K. The bank just failed. Was going to fail. We don't want to do a taxpayer bailout. So you just bailed out the bank yourself. But don't worry, we'll give you shares in the bank. You're giving me shares of a failed bank? Well, yeah, kind of. Because we just took $250,000 of your $500,000, leaving you with the FDI insured amount of $250,000. You just bailed in the bank. You're going to be furious. You're going to want to kill somebody. And you're going to hear stories of killings for that reason. It's going to happen. Because again, you just gave the money to the bank. They didn't ask you for it. They didn't ask you, would you loan? We know we're the bank and we lend money to people at interest, and we make our CEOs walk away with $100 million, Wells Fargo, $125 million for overseeing the fraud and not doing anything about it. She's walking with $125 million. CEO, he's walking with millions and millions. Everybody's walking with millions, but you're not going to fund the bank through a bail-in. Thanks for the $250K. We appreciate it. Here's some shares that are worthless. Oh. And if that doesn't work, or it's not enough, negative interest rates for everybody. Matter of fact, they may do negative interest rates before they have to do the bail-in. That way the bank can get some money now in hopes that it doesn't need to do the bail-in because you're paying it interest to keep your money there. And as I said, there's not a chance in hell I would keep my money there. So let me run this scenario by you for anyone that just might think New World Order could be a good idea. You know, we don't have currency wars with each other. There's only one currency, you know. Imagine, because it's all going digital. When that happens, New World Order, it's digital. Banning cash, forget cash. You're going to have a card, a chip, whatever, and that's how you pay. You can't take your money out. How do you take your money out of the bank when it's digital? Perfect example, Bitcoin. How do you take out Bitcoin? If you knew, oh my God, there's a problem coming, I need to get my money out of that system right now. You could argue and say, well, I'll download it to my wallet. But that's Bitcoin. A digital one world currency is not that. That is where it's in a big giant banking system with your account number attached to it. And if they charge negative interest rates, your money's there. You can't take it out. You can't do anything with it. So A, spend it. Or B, pay the fine. You can't get out of it. What I would suggest is if that happens, spend the money. Oh, you want me to consume? Yes, that's why we're doing this. We need you to buy, stimulate the economy. Go spend, you moron. Okay. We call my favorite coin dealers. This is JSnip4. Send me a load of silver or gold. You know, maybe you're going to reach the point one day where you've realized I don't want to have to carry this silver around. This is kind of heavy. Time to get into gold. Again, you're going to be pleased no matter what you invest in, gold or silver. I just have a feeling silver is going to do better than gold when this all goes down, but that's beside the point. You're going to be real happy. Okay, I'm going to go spend so I don't get hit with that minus 2% negative rate fee. And I'm going to take my money, digital or not, and buy physical precious metals. I got my money out of the bank in the form of precious metals. And then whatever happens after the smoke clears, oh wow, the price of this stuff here went up massively. I'm going to sell it now and put those digital numbers back in my account. I put way more digital numbers in than I got out to buy this stuff, right? You could do it that way. Anyways, take care.